Kylie Jean Tannehill. She is a podcast host, a full-time speaker.
Yes.
How is this weekend going for you?
This weekend has been awesome. And yeah, it's like a big family reunion.
Yeah.
You and I have been around for a little bit, so it's so fun. And then you get to make new friends, and really cool just being in a room where all these people are coming together because they have like values. And it's so important, especially in this day and age.
Well, I think it's important too to show people that there's power in numbers, because so many people that come to these, I've been coming to these for really almost since Turning Point started.
Yeah.
And to hear the stories over and over again of people that said, I'm the only one in my friend group who thinks this way, feels this way, believes this, and they come here and they feel so energized to go back. They know that they're not alone. I mean, it's incredible. So
Really, it's very encouraging.
Yeah, so you got to speak this weekend.
Yeah.
Tell us about your panel and what you talked about.
Amazing. I was on a panel and I was talking about faith in the public square.
Okay.
And I think what was really cool about everybody who was on the panel, we had Shane Winnings, Riley Gaines, Lucas Miles, Rob was hosting, and it's really cool just to be able to see people who have had a lot of behind the scenes no's to a greater yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we experience the platform that the Lord like publicly opens for people, or where people have taken a stand for what is true and what is right. And there's a lot more that comes on behind the scenes. So being able to speak with some incredible people, encourage the audience, is just such an amazing honor.
What kind of, when you started your platform or you started your podcast, did you get any backlash or canceling, censoring, anything like that?
You know, I've had a very unique experience.
Yeah.
I started out in the music industry at 15.
Okay.
So I was writing music as a record label, and this is pre-days of social media.
Yeah.
And so you kind of see behind the scenes a little differently. And, you know, you realize, oh, there's a lot more going on than what we ever know, especially when it comes to entertainment. And I kind of went through that and then ended up in journalism. And I was super naive going into politics, super naive going into Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And you quickly realize that behind the scenes, it's kind of the same game.
Yeah.
You follow the money trail, and even a lot of the money comes from the same place. And so you're like, oh, wow, it's the business of aesthetics. And so that gets a little fascinating. And so for me, I've had this in front of the scenes and a very behind the scenes the last 10 years, where it's been really cool to be able to stand for what is true and see that it's very respected. I think people look at character. And when you're true to yourself and you make decisions based on your beliefs and your character lines up, I think there's nothing but respect.
Yeah.
So as far as experiencing canceling, honestly, I think it's been so many decisions that have then led to where my character has proved that I've always been consistent.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been a blessing in that way. I've worked with so many people who've been canceled.
Yeah.
And it's just been really cool to see redemption on the other side.
Sure.
Because I don't think there is a such thing as canceling. Normally they propel even better than they were.
It's so true. And I think like once people hear those stories, that's why it's so important for me to like have a place for people to come and share their stories, because people need to hear that. They need to hear like my life didn't end the second somebody disagreed with me. My life didn't end the second somebody called for my platform to be canceled. Like, no, like this is what God, you just said it perfectly.
Yeah.
God redeems that. So you're going around the country and you're speaking.
Yeah.
What is the message that you're speaking on?
You know, I realized, especially in this last year when we were going into the election, I was in a lot of like faith-based political circles. That's my world. And people were coming in hopeless, especially thinking about the younger generation. And the best part is when we realize that every single one of us has a purpose and that we're here for a reason, it shakes the dust off of despair. And we don't have to open up the door to hope despair, really.
Yeah.
And so it's coming connected with, why am I here? And it's easy to see people on stage, and it can kind of feel intimidating. We see people all the time, and it just looks like they're doing so much. And where do I fit in? Like I'm in school, or I'm at home raising my kids, or I run my business. Well, actually, where you are is a sphere of influence, and your decisions are noticed, and there's a ripple effect that comes from that. And so it's really just been able to step back, invite people to ask questions, invite them into the invitation to step into who they are and the authority they already carry. We're we the people for a reason, because we the people hold the reins, and we've been designed to live in kingdom order in that way. So it's just been really fun to see people come up to me and be like, wow, I have hope. Or like, I've really just been worried about my grandkids, and what you shared is just, it's inviting hope and sharing people's stories and allowing them to be fully who they are created to be, and realize they don't have to shrink back, but we get to step up. And like you said, one puts 1,000 to flight, two puts 10,000 to flight. That's a biblical principle. When we come together, incredible things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are you going to be measuring success over the next year with your podcast and the speaking engagements that you have?
That's a really interesting question that I've never been asked. I think for me, success is hearing the stories I hear from people who literally felt like they had no idea what they were called to in life, and they didn't understand that we aren't created. I speak in a lot of faith-based places, and there's so many people who live under this restricted mindset that we're just living and coasting through life until we get to heaven. The reality is, the Bible's clear, on earth as it is in heaven, which means I'm called to bring heaven to earth, and I get to live within my environment and bring that culture there. I don't have to be in the four walls of a building.
Yeah.
I get to be in the areas that the Lord has placed me. I get to live fully in who I'm called to be and in fullness, and I get to be in strength in that. So I think that that's a huge measure of success when I hear what people feedback is.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. So I'm going to leave you with the last word to the audience, and also tell everybody where they can follow you, listen to your show and everything.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
If you go to KylieJean.com or just look Kylie Jean Tannehill, I'm on all social media, all podcast platforms, The Kylie Jean Show. But I just want to encourage you today, every single one of you is purposed for such a time as this. That your voice is important. And when you walk into the room, you bring something that nobody else carries in the atmosphere. It's because this day, this hour in history, it needs you. It needs what you bring. It needs what your family legacy is. So I want to encourage you, you are valued, you're important, and you have something to share. And now is the time.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. And you guys stay tuned for more interviews.